Hi everyone, so when I first started using mGear, I wanted to have like a very simple setup for my head and neck and space switches for local and world orientation. So for the past 2 weeks I was looking at on the forum and I couldn't find like a tutorial, so I decided to create one today. As I realized that you can just use a Ctrl+01 to do all the stuff I was doing last week. So I'll show you how I go about that. So let's bring the outliner and let's bring mGear. So let's start by creating a first control, 01. Ouch! Okay, so that's going to be our root. Let's make it a bit bigger. Now we're going to use, we're going to create the neck. Oh, made a mistake with the name. So it's root. Okay, so that's going to be our first neck control. So neck 0. Bring it up a bit. Doesn't have to be as big. Oh, is this a joint, by the way? Okay, that's a joint. And what about this guy? That guy needs to be a joint as well. Okay, now we need the second neck control. So I'm going to call it neck again. And the cool thing about mGear is automatically it's going to rename to neck 1. Because neck 0 is already used. So that was neck 0 and that new one is neck 1. And the last Ctrl+01 we need is the head control. It needs to be a joint as well. And let's bring it up. Okay, so I think I've created my hierarchy. So now we can just build this and see what happens. So as you can see, I already tweaked the representation of the controls. Let's hide the guide. So what's going to happen? If I move the root, everything follows. If I move neck, if I rotate neck 0, everything rotates. So the head doesn't have any space switches yet. So how are we going to go about that? I'm going to the settings, and there's one little option you need to change. So this appeared in mGear 4, I guess. You need to switch the connector to orientation. Let's try this. Has it made any changes? No, everything is the same. And obviously we need to do something else. We now have space switches. So how do we set up space switches? Simply we go to the head control, components, and here that's where it's located. Your switches are located into the IK reference array box. Yeah, that was like, at first it was very confusing for me, and that's why, yeah, I just couldn't understand. But yeah, once you know where it is, it's a lot simpler. So what we want to do is that we want to have a global space. So that's going to be our root. So just click on this button, and the second space I need is my neck, which is the parent basically. So this way we're going to be able to switch from the root to the neck, so from the world to the parent or to the local. Yeah, that's it really. So let's build this. Hide the guide. So now, so like I said, we're using the root space, which is my world space. But if I rotate the neck now, the head is not following the rotation. The head rotation is not following. the head is oriented to the world with both of them. So how do I switch? So in mGear, need to go to select host, and then do and that's where it's located. It's again in this parent control IK thing, and that's where you're going to switch it to the parent, which is the neck space. So now if I rotate the neck, the head is rotating with it. Oh, and also the cool thing about this system is that you're going to have consistent rotation. So you see I'm in gimbal mode, and if I rotate, I'm in RX, negative RX. So it's consistent. So it's going to be a lot easier for the animators to track things in the graph editor once they want to, once they start like polishing their work. Okay, so there's something, yeah, so it's not very intuitive for an animator to have to go to select host and then switch it into the IK thing. And a lot of people are going to be confused, especially people who are not used to mGear. So what you can do is that you can just, in a picker, you could just create some, so here I simply have some like selections. And here I've got like two command button with some like simple Python script. So which one are we in? Which space? So at the moment we are in parent. So if I want to be in world, so that's one way to approach it. So you could have like switches using scripts in your picker. So it's going to be a lot easier for the animators if you do it this way. And potentially, so I don't have enough experience with mGear, potentially we could also do it a different way, but I think it's going to introduce some cycles. So I don't think you're supposed to do it this way. So the way you could do it is to, in the settings of my head, you could select the head as a host. So yeah, if you have more experience with mGear, you can tell me if it's very wrong to do that. Because if I test it, so I'm in world right now, and I could just do, oh no, it didn't work, I screwed up. Oh yes, because I was selecting the neck. So now if I just do this, parent control, so I've got access so my host is the head, so I've got like all my right click, which I can do from the head itself. So I'm minimizing this way the amount of clicks, but like I said, potentially that could introduce some cycles. So yeah, this is something that needs to be discussed on the forum. Cool. Okay, so at least we found a solution, and also with like rotation consistency, so it's pretty cool. So hopefully you found this useful.